We carry money every day and use it to buy things. Every country uses their own currency. But how did it start? What did people use before the bills and coins we're familiar with? Currency, which is a form of exchange for goods and services, is essential to making everyday life function. Whether you're investing in something, buying groceries, or subscribing to your favorite music streaming service, currency has been around for thousands of years. So how did it start? Today on Feed My Curiosity, we'll look at the history of currency. What was the first kind of currency? How did it evolve to the forms of currency we're familiar with today? And what is the deal with cryptocurrency? If you like learning about science, technology, history, and other fascinating topics, show your support by smashing that like button and become part of the Feed My Curiosity family by subscribing. Doing so helps us grow so that we can keep producing more content for you. Now, on to the video. Before coins were widely used, anything that had any kind of value was exchanged for other items, also known as bartering. Cattle were known to be the first kind of currency. From 9000 BC to 6000 BC, cows, goats, sheep, camels, and other livestock were exchanged for other cattle, land, and items. It also set a standard of how to set prices. For example, a cow is worth more than a goat, so a seller could ask for 2 or 3 goats in exchange for 1 cow. In 6000 BC, bartering began to evolve and was no longer restricted to trading livestock. The Phoenicians, inspired by the Mesopotamians, began to barter with food, spices, and even weapons. Salt was another item of high value, so much so that Roman soldiers received salt as a part of their salaries. By 1200 BC, cowrie shells were used as currency by the Chinese during the Shang dynasty, as well as Indian and African societies. As to why they were valuable for a number of reasons. African legends say that cowrie shells are linked with strength and the power of the ocean due to goddess protection. Cowrie shells are small, so they are easy to carry, and they are also very durable. Their unique shapes and texture make them easily recognizable, and they were commonly used to make jewelry. Most importantly, cowrie shells were nearly impossible to forge. Inspired by cowrie shells, the Chinese circulated bronze and copper cowrie-like shells in 1000 BC. This is perhaps known as the birth of monetary metal coins. Eventually, the coins became rounded and had holes in them so that they could be easily chained together. Ancient Lydia began to make coins with more valuable metals. But before we describe which metals they were and how they looked, let's take a pop quiz. Cattle were known to be the first kind of currency and were exchanged starting in which millennium? A. 11,000 BC, B. 10,000 BC, C. 9,000 BC, or D. 8,000 BC? Leave your answer in the comments below. We'll be revealing the answer at the end of the video. Coins were made of more valuable metals and were produced and circulated by ancient Lydia, now Turkey, in 700 BC. Known as starters, they had a design on one side and punch holes on the other. Their value came from the materials they were made of, which were gold and silver. Coins also began circulating with the Greeks, the Persians, the Macedonians, and the Romans, who also enhanced the way coins were made. In 118 BC, the Chinese began using leather money, 1-foot square pieces of deerskin leather, to exchange for goods. This is perhaps the earliest known use of banknotes or bills. Leather would be used as currency in other places as well. In 1122, Doge Domenico Michele of Venice paid his fleet with pieces of leather, which they were then able to spend once they had returned to Venice. Then, in the 13th century, Muhammad bin Talaq, who was the Sultan of Delhi at the time, was inspired by the Chinese and attempted to make a leather form of mass currency in India. It failed, however, because it was too easy to forge. By the 1800s to the early 1900s, countries around the world began to adopt the gold standard, which linked the value of bills to gold. In other words, countries agreed to convert paper money into a fixed amount of gold. The years between 1880 and 1914 was also known as the classical gold standard. By the 1970s, the gold standard had been nixed. On August 15, 1971, U.S. President Richard Nixon declared that the U.S. dollar could no longer be exchanged for gold. Instead, the value of the dollar would depend on the public faith in the government that issued it. That dollar can be exchanged for its value in goods. This is known as fiat money, which has been adopted by many other currencies around the world. Another example of fiat money are the Canadian dollar, the euro, and the pound sterling. In the age of everything going online, the concept of money has also taken a digital form. Cryptocurrency is essentially a virtual currency that is secured by cryptography. This means that it's very difficult to forge or spend multiple times. Cryptocurrency is made possible through a decentralized network that operates on blockchain technology, which is a public ledger distributed over a network of computers. Once a cryptocurrency transaction takes place, it's verified, stored in a block, and hashed, it is added to the end of the blockchain. Every computer network that is hosting the chain is updated with any new transactions or blocks that are added to the end of the chain. Each block can be up to 1 megabyte in size. Bitcoin, which started in 2010, is perhaps the most popular cryptocurrency out there and is the first to use blockchain technology. As of June 2020, the size of the Bitcoin blockchain is approximately 285 gigabytes. With cryptocurrency circulating around the internet, paper bills and coins are still circulated around the world. People deposit them into banks and then use credit and debit cards to make transactions, with card readers and online. How do you pay for things? Do you still carry cash wherever you go? Or do you just carry cards around? Do you use wallet apps on your smartphone? Or do you just leave your wallet at home? Have you started using cryptocurrency? Let us know in the comments below. If you've enjoyed watching this video and want to learn more relating to science, technology, and history, and tons of other subjects, don't forget to click the subscribe button and the bell icon to be notified whenever we publish new videos. Click the like button as well to help us grow so we can produce more content for you. Now, on to the results of our pop quiz. Cattle were known to be the first kind of currency that were exchanged starting in which millennium? A. 11,000 BC, B. 10,000 BC, C. 9,000 BC, or D. 8,000 BC. If you said C. 9,000 BC, you're correct. Congratulations! If you are incorrect, don't sweat it. You can always try in our next video. See you next time on Feed My Curiosity. Take care.